We are live, and it is Thursday, the 17th of October. Um, uh, this is the coffee club in the seventh dimension. And the reason it's in the seventh dimension is because it's primarily focused on Akashic records and how Sarah and I are navigating life post Akashic records clearing. And for those of you that don't know, the Akashic records exist in the seventh dimension. Hence, coffee club in the seventh dimension. Aren't I clever for coming up with that? Hey, Sarah, how are you?
I'm really good. I am really
Good. We've not spoken much, have we, this week? You've been away.
good.
So I kind of want to get to a few things today. So definitely the whole orgasmic state of being. Interestingly, I spoke to somebody else this week, and the same thing happened to her over the weekend as well.
Oh,
So
wow.
I don't know whether this is some kind of I don't know. But she had a spiritual awakening a few years. Anyway, I'll come back to her in a minute. And then I just want to kind of share a couple of things that have happened to me this week that are kind of like, wow, where did that come from? And then I would love for you to do the same. If there is anything of, wow, where did that come from for you?
Okay. No problem.
So the whole orgasmic thing started for me last Friday. So I was driving to go and see one of my horse clients, and I was driving down the road, and I was nearly at my destination, and I was turning off the main road onto a side road, and I could feel this kind of build up going on in my lower kind of belly area, and it felt like the only thing I could liken it to was an orgasm brewing. And as I turned off the road, I had this mental image suddenly popped into my mind that something was coming the other way. And I turned off, and these 5 cyclists came down the road. And it was quite a narrow lane, so I think that's why it was just kind of like there's something around the corner coming. Don't turn too fast. And then suddenly I just felt massively connected to everything around. I was, there's like green fields on either side. The sky was blue. There were these cyclists, trees, hedges, and I just felt totally connected to everything, like I was part of all of it. And then this kind of rumbling that was going on sort of shot up into my head, and I had a little kind of orgasmic explosion going on in my head. And I was like, well,
That's new.
what's that all about? And I sent you a message, didn't I? I was like, this is going on. And you giggled, sending me one back going, oh my God, the same thing's happening to me.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that
was
was
it?
wow. Say that again. So, Kat.
I was going to say, so please share what was going on for you.
Well, I couldn't quite put my finger on it. It was like the last couple of days last week.
No pun intended.
And I just thought, wow, I don't know, I felt surges of excitement and space around me. I felt like I had all this space around me. Not physical, just that idea that I had room to think or not think. I was just very aware, and it was like I was in slow motion at some point, but I was just aware of everything in my body, and I kept thinking, oh my God, I feel horny. It's like, good job Richard's not anywhere
That's
near
my
me.
husband.
And then you left me that message, and I laughed out loud because I thought, oh my God, one, it's not the sort of conversation you normally get. Yeah, me too. It's not the
Make
sort
me
of
laugh.
message that you leave somebody, is it? Well, maybe you do. Maybe I've just forgotten. But I definitely had this, pockets of very, very aware of how orgasmic is the word I used, I felt. And it
Yes.
was just bizarre. And since that moment, or those moments, I've been away. I've been with in a show, an exhibition. So lots of people around me, and walking past these people, going, I still feel orgasmic and excited, and and I thought, if only they knew.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I just before we go on, I can see someone's joining us live. So please say hello in the comments, give us a like or a love. If you've got a question or a comment, then we'd love to hear it. I'm not sure whether I'm actually going to be able to see it live. So hopefully it will. But anyway, so I had this image in my head. Have you ever watched the film Raiders of the Lost Ark with Harrison Ford, Indiana
Yes.
Jones? Oh, Sarah's frozen, so I'll just continue and hopefully she'll be back. Oh, there you are. You're moving
Sorry.
again now.
Yes, I have heard of it.
That's right. Yes. Yes. So you know the scene towards the end where they have the Ark of the Covenant, and they're gonna the evil doctor's gonna take the lid off, and there's this kind of like swirl. It takes the lid off, and this swirling starts to happen. Do you remember it? And that's
Yes.
what I imagined was going on. That's the visual kind of representation I had of what was going on in my lower abdomen. And it just so happened that the next day, maybe, I think it was Saturday, I was chatting with someone on Facebook, Justin Chilton on Facebook, and he mentioned Kundalini awakening. And I was like, I don't really know what that is. And I'm not sure that I still don't know what that is. I think the thing is that we're awakening spiritually has got so many different names depending on kind of what part of the world it's come from, and I think Kundalini is kind of far Eastern Indian descent. And I was like, oh, I'm going to Google that. So I Googled it, Kundalini and orgasmic feeling, and this guy was talking about it as an energy, that starts to be created in your body, that feels orgasmic. And normally, you'd have your orgasm and it'd all be, the energy would dissipate and it would all be over and it would be gone. But this, you can actually almost kind of cultivate it and send it up. That's what you want to do. You want to send it up,
Okay.
out of the lower chakras and into the higher chakras. So that's what, and then it kind of happened to me again on Sunday morning, while I was outside kind of doing chores with the horses. So and I watched this video and I thought, oh, I'm going to do that. So I imagined this kind of swirling, like in the Raiders of the Lost Ark when he takes the lid off, and then sent it up into my head. And I had the same experience then in my brain. I was just like, wow, this is so powerful. I'm not quite sure where it goes or what it does next. Don't know that it really matters. I don't really need a massive explanation for anything these days. Just experience it and go, cracky, that was good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was interesting then, because I haven't done that. So I'm going to meditate this afternoon, and I'm going to help shift it, help it flow, because it's definitely in my pelvic and lower chakras. And it's just that almost like a nausea feeling, but it's just excitement. It's just excitement.
You don't have to well, I didn't meditate. I was standing on the muck heap when I did it. That's how. I wasn't meditating at all.
Sorry, I didn't mean
you can just stand it. You don't need to. It's just focusing on the area and then giving it some direction. See what happens. You can try it in meditation as well. I mean, why not?
Yeah, it's as I haven't sat down and meditated today. That was my. I'm going to go over there.
Yeah. So, this got me thinking about how powerful the Akashic Records work is, because, if you think about it, and I did a post about this week, that I'm just trying to find it so I can say what I wanted to say. So I was thinking about it being, so there's, lots of people do inner child work, don't they?
Yeah.
Here we go. And shadow work. and people are looking for a spiritual awakening or a Kundalini awakening. And actually, all of this is happening just through clearing your Akashic records. And for us, we cleared our Akashic records. It was over a year ago when we did it. And all we've done every day since is stay connected to the records, to universal energy, and surrendered resistance when things have come up. We haven't tried to squash them down. We haven't tried to fix them. We've just allowed them to be. So any of those kind of lower emotions of anger or frustration or guilt or irritation, any of those things, just be with them as they are. And it's allowed all of that other stuff to happen. So the shadow work, for those people that don't know what shadow work is, that's the process of uncovering and integrating the parts of yourself that you've suppressed or hidden. And inner child healing, which is bringing forgotten childhood wounds into your awareness, allowing you to nurture and heal that part of you that was hurt or neglected. And then the Kundalini awakening is the energetic awakening. Interestingly, the kind of when I looked at it, it can be often requires intense effort. Well, not this way. It doesn't. It just freaking happens.
Yeah.
And kind of it's just unfolded effortlessly for us. And this is all kind of happening underneath the surface. And it pops up. I don't know, when somebody decides it's going to pop up. I don't know who decides what time it is to pop up. Somebody up there, a guide or just, I don't know, universal stuff.
Yeah, I think when you were just talking then about the effort, or, then you do this, then you do this, then you can do this. There's none of that. There's none of that. And
no.
And it sounds almost too good to be true, but it's what it is,
doesn't it?
Yes, it's exactly what it is. It's not. It's just the most beautiful journey to be on, and have that awareness and that space, and everything is happening exactly as it's supposed to. Even the bits where you feel that you're having to surrender,
Yeah.
And sometimes you go, what again? But actually it's a completely different experience, and you surrender to it, and it becomes even more. It's really very hard to describe. It's kind of one of those things you need to experience.
It's an unfolding, isn't it? It's an unfolding as we're shifting from 3D to 5D, as we're making a choice to choose love and collaboration and not suffering and not being in fear and scarcity, as opposed to the 3D model, which is all about fear and scarcity and suffering. And our light body's upgrading, the kind of the light body part of us. The soul part of us is upgrading, because that's what's happening energetically anyway with the planet and with humanity in general. But you do have to choose to get onto the bandwagon, as it were, get off the old and onto the new, and then it just unfolds beautifully.
Yeah,
as long as you don't try and force it, or push it, or make it something that you want it to be.
Yeah, it's the awareness and letting it be and accepting it. That's and that's hard. Actually, that's the hardest lesson.
It is. Because we all want to get involved, don't we, with our brains. And you're right there.
Yeah, sorry, frog. Perhaps that orgasm is coming up.
There you go. Well, interestingly, it did actually sit in my throat for a minute as a really strong ball of energy.
Yeah. So my voice, I've said it before, when I say the truth or something's changing, it hits my voice.
Yeah.
And for the last couple of days, my voice has been really croaky. So there is something trying to come. The energy is trying to flow, and it's coming.
Yeah. Well, and that's it. And it's like you say, what you're not doing now is going, okay, how can I make this happen faster? How can I push this through? It's you have to allow. And that really is the surrender to the resistance, the allowing things to just be as they are. That is the hardest thing, because we are so good. We are so good at trying to control things.
Yeah, I used to be, if you asked my daughter what's mummy, she'd say a fixer. She's a fixer. You give her a problem and she'll fix it.
Yeah.
And in mummy terms, that's kind of like, that's kind of the hat that you have. But actually, it's been really hard not to have my fixer hat on and just to let things be. And when they've happened around me, my husband having lost his job, and Grace going to uni, and all the bits that are happening around me, it's like I don't have to fix any of it. I don't have to fix any of it. And that's been my hardest lesson.
Yeah, definitely. Mine was definitely the need for control. I had to kind of have my arms around everything and make sure everything was planned out and that I was moving in a certain direction, and that just make sure that I had a handle on it all, so I knew what was coming, so I could feed that into certainty in my world. So, living and being okay with being in uncertainty is the biggest thing for me now. But I'm getting better and better at it. I just practice it every day as it comes up, and get rewarded with the most amazing things. Are you still there? You look like you're frozen in place, so you might be frozen in place. You are frozen in place. You're frozen in place in a very thinking manner. So, so while Sarah's frozen in place until she comes back. Oh, there she is. You're back. You're back. I was just going to share a couple of one really like wowzers. How on earth did that happen? Moment this week, and also something that one of my clients messaged me this morning with. So about 6 weeks ago, I connected with somebody on Facebook. It was kind of like one of those. She was 2 people removed from somebody that I knew on Facebook, and she sent me a friend request. And she's one of my peeps. She's spiritual kind of connection. And then that was it. And then the next thing I know, she's on a trip to Europe. She lives in Texas in America. She's on a trip to Europe. And the next thing I know, she's going to be in Glastonbury, which is just down the road from me. And I was like, "Oh, you're going to be in Glastonbury? Let's meet." So the first thing that's unusual about that is the old me would never have done that, because the old me felt very disconnected from people, and the old me didn't actually even really feel comfortable being around people. Not unless I knew them really well. And certainly going to meet someone that I had never met before would have been way out of it wasn't even a comfort zone thing. It was just would have been like no, I don't want to do that. So anyway, that was cool. And I went to meet her, and she's telling me all about her spiritual awakening and how it just all kind of suddenly happened. She got all of this huge dump of download into her brain and could suddenly start channeling light language, which I don't know a huge amount about, and I've never really looked into. So I was telling her about my journey and ultimately the Akashic records, and I was also talking about my horse, and she's like, "Oh, I love horses so much." I was like, "Yes, me too." And we were chatting away, and she went, "Do you know what?" She said, I've got light language for you and your horse. Could we go to your place? I was like, "Yeah, of course. Yes, why not? Let's do it." Which again would have been a weird thing for me, because unless it's been planned to throw something at me, lastminute.com, people that have known me for a long time will recognize this. I'd have been a bit resistant to that. So we drive back here from Glastonbury, go out to the field to my horse, and she starts channeling light language for Dan, and then for me. And it was the most extraordinary. I can't even describe it. I was kind of a bit like, I've got no idea what's happening here at all. And it went on for about half an hour. And she kind of told me what had come up, and I tried to kind of, make some sense of it. And I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to have to let this sit with me on some level that's not my brain, because it's a lot to process. And that night, oh man, I was ill. I was wiped out, and I was also not very well as well. The next day I woke up and I did my meditation, and I went up to the records, and I was given this silver cloak with a hood that had all of these symbols on the outside in green and red, which was really interesting, because when I was designing the branding colours for Raising Catherine, the colours that came through to me were silver, green and red. Oh, got goosebumps.
Oh, wow.
And I put this cloak on in the records, and I just felt all of this energy. I felt really light, like I could float.
Wow.
And as part of the channeling, she said that I had this copper staff with some kind of spiral type design on the top with a crystal in it, and wolf fur somewhere there. And as she was telling me this, I had an image in my head of me being a Native American Indian chief sat on a horse, which was my horse in a past life.
Oh, goosebumps.
Which there's still a part of me, my left brain, that goes, listen at this whack job. Listen to this whack job. Crazy person.
Oh, I can see the emotion in your eyes then.
Yeah. But it's just incredible, that I connected with this person. And actually on Monday morning, I'd woken up and I'd gone into the records, and I went down into the core first, into the crystalline core. And I was trying to leave, and I couldn't leave. I kept getting pulled back in. And the message was that I needed to go, and I definitely needed to connect with Darcy.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
And that was definitely not a you move.
No. But how could you have planned that? Someone's in Texas, somebody's in Somerset, and she was basically told that she needed to get her ass over to Europe. There were people that needed her.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's
So, and she had also the same orgasmic experience when she was having a treatment in Glastonbury with one of her friends.
Yeah, there's definitely something shifting, isn't there? There's definitely something happening.
For
The
sure.
energy is rising.
It is. I think it's speeding up. It's speeding up. It's amplifying. It's taken us on a. Just the momentum of it is just speeding up. Definitely.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for sharing that, Kat.
Well, I'm still a bit like, what just happened there? Because stuff like that doesn't happen to me normally. It's not like it's a regular occurrence in my life. And then I got a message from one of my clients this morning, Caroline, and she said, Kat, it's happening again. It's happening again. She said that kind of the path has opened up, and I'm just I'm being pulled along in this direction, and suddenly I'm setting up my equine massage business in the same way that everything lined up perfectly for her a month ago to manifest her dream piece of land that she'd been after for years and years. She said everything's just unfolding. She said, I'm just taking the action without even thinking about it. And clients coming already.
Wow, that's amazing. That's
isn't it?
Yeah, that's so cool. Wow.
So that's been my week.
Well, that orgasms and tears in your eyes and meeting people coming over from, the pond. That's pretty impressive. That's a pretty busy week, huh?
It is. I'm having some downtime this afternoon. I'm a bit knackered, it has to be said. Definitely. Because, as your kind of light body, your spiritual body upgrades, which is basically what's happening, it takes time for the physical body to catch up.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in the last since the orgasmic feelings last week and over the weekend, Sunday especially, I was just exhausted. I mean, always feel like I'm in some sort of like time warp anyway, or timeline. I seem to be jumping and I have no idea what day it is, what I'm doing, and suddenly something's happening in front of me. But this last 2 weeks, I've had, like 4 new clients, and it's instantly, and that's like, wow, okay, that's new.
Yeah.
So, and people who are really connected, with energy, and so it's just beautiful that your treatments feel that much more powerful, and
Yeah.
the energy work that you do feels that much more powerful because they're already,
Definitely.
already in that mindset that there's no blockages, and they have that sensitivity that they can feel that shift, the shifts of energy. So
Yeah.
so that's really great.
And they're coming to you without that traditional kind of effortful marketing aspect. It's just kind of, they're coming.
Yeah. So
I think this is a new paradigm that's coming in.
this is the interesting thing. So one of the clients said, "Oh, I saw your website," and I was like, "I don't have a website." And she said, "Well, I got your number from somewhere." I said, "I have no idea where. I'm not on anything, and I don't have a website." And she went, "Oh my God, how did that happen?" And I went, "Well, here we are." So so that was very interesting.
Fabulous. That's amazing. That really is. Wow. So exciting week.
Yes,
I like to have some more of those as well. I mean, it's feels good.
I definitely feel I've said this before, that I'm on this, on past it. It felt like I was looking into darkness, but actually it's not. I feel like all of a sudden, all around me, time and space is just going to go.
Yeah.
Because it's just a really, really, I can't describe it. It's just space, and I've never ever felt
magical.
Yeah, it is magical space.
It is magical, definitely. Well, we've been talking for half an hour, so we should probably wrap it up. I like to keep these things reasonably short, just so that they're not too onerous to consume. So I just wanted to say that, if any of you that are watching now, or if you're watching on replay, and you like what you're hearing, and you'd quite like to be living your life from this space, then have a group, Akashic Records clearing, starting on Monday. So it'll be a maximum of 5 people in the group. 5 people. So it's not about it being big and about bringing lots of people in. It's just about making it a small enough group so that the power and the energy of that can support everybody in their clearing. So if you are, tell me how many of these that you recognize in your old you. So you've got recurring patterns. So you're facing the same struggles in relationships, work, or health, no matter what you do. There's a thumbs up, and for me also. Unexplained fears or phobias. Certain situations trigger fear or anxiety that seem out of place. Have one of those. Feeling stuck or stagnant. You tried everything but still feel blocked in your growth or manifesting your desires. Well, I'm going to give myself like 6 for that one.
Yeah, I know. I'm under the table doing this.
Chronic fatigue or emotional overload. Constantly feeling drained and overwhelmed. Yeah. repeating negative self-talk. You're in a dialogue full of guilt and shame and doubt and how ridiculous and stupid and useless and blah you are. And explain physical pain.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
And then a deep desire for healing. You feel an inner calling, but you don't know where to start. You can feel it at a soul level. So if you're struggling with any of those things, then and you're listening to this, chances are you're meant to be clearing records. So I've got like 2 spaces left. So drop me a message, comment underneath here. You can comment, I'm ready. You can send me a message. The cost is £599 to clear. We're just going to clear everything over 8 weeks. So if you're interested, let me know. It's not going to be at that price again. So jump in while you can. And I think the great thing about it is that you'll be cleared by Christmas. What a great way to go into the new year, into January, with, to a time when we're usually setting resolutions and reflecting on the old and what's going to bring 2025 is going to bring. So it's a perfect time to do it, I think.
Absolutely.
Cool. Anything else you want to share before we go?
I don't think so. I think I'm so super excited. I just, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's just like I can't. It's like I was sitting on the sofa eating my lunch early, and I was like, why am I feeling so kind of? Oh, it's almost like it's Christmas Eve and I'm a kid.
Oh, I was just like, I'm going, what's next? What's next? Okay, what's next? And not in a, I need something now. It's just like, what we're doing. So excited.
Definitely. So, yeah. Well, as ever, Sarah, thank you so much for joining me. We will be back next week with who knows what.
Well, after orgasms today, who knows?
Orgasms, light language, and meeting someone that I didn't even know 6 weeks ago. Yes. No, existed 6 weeks ago. Yes. So let's see what happens next.
Yes. Have an amazing week.
And you too. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Please, if you've got any questions, drop those in the comments as well. Either Sarah or I, or both of us, will be able to answer them, and give us a like and a love. Let's get this out there to the world so that people can start to realize that there is a whole new space to live from.
Yeah, for sure.
Lots of love. Bye.
Bye.